Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you lose it?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy. Darling. Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
So,
Sounds good.
Are
dude.
you cozy? I feel weird doing this movie.
I feel weird.
Like,
It's
after
what
the
is
fact, I specifically like it's a Christmas movie. I was getting all, but now I'm like, new year, new me.
this? Yeah, dude. Welcome
Not-
to 2024, people.
Yeah.
We're rocking it here. We're watching new movies. No more of those old movies, except for today when we talk about it.
No, this is movie that came out very recently, and that's us now on. We're only doing what's the hippest TikTok trends, whatever the biggest thing is. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe. Just kidding. We're probably gonna watch some dumb old shit this next month.
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, the
I put-
movies
I
that are
put
going to win are
Speed.
from like the early 2000s or
I put
yeah, or
Speed on the
90s.
poll, buddy. You know.
Yeah,
I
right.
told my wife to go vote. She just can't wait to do her movie month in February. But I told her, I said, go vote for a movie on the Reddit. For the love of God, please. Please, anyone, go vote for the movies on the Reddit.
I know.
And she looked
Everybody
at
out
it
there
and she
listening.
says, ugh, these movies are boring. And I said, how can you, what? How can you call Speed and Hot Fuzz and that? Anyway, right now we're talking about the opposite of those movies. So this
And
last,
if we're talking, yeah, that the high octane. It's,
I hope-
it's going low. It's low octane.
I
right
hope
now. It's
everyone,
It's Jim Beam right now, baby.
Jim Beam, baby. So I hope everyone had a great holidays. So if you listen to this, then perhaps you know we skipped a week so that we could travel and be with our families and all that. So this last month,
COVID could
December,
devour my brain.
yeah, this last month, December was Cozy Movie Month. And I think the movie we watched today's, you clicked on the thing, The Holdovers, was a perfect ending to, like, it was exactly what I wanted it to be. And it was the perfect ending to the genre that we'd done for the month last month. So where I'm going to try to get back in that headspace. Even though we're dying of climate change here, it's like 50 degrees.
Yeah, but it was nice. It was a nice cold 1970s December, and we're gonna roll it on back to the Holdovers here. I'll give you a little synopsis for all
lay
the
it on
folks
me.
at home.
Lay it on me.
It'll be I didn't write it down.
So,
clearly, 'cause
so expect a 15-minute synopsis of Jordan trying to remember the movie that he watched. So bear with us because usually we
this
watch
is
a
like-
movie like a couple days before we do the podcast. We both
Yes.
watched this movie over a week ago, and we were both just talking about off air how terrible our memories are, and they're filled with crack addict homeless. So
Oh, sure. I mean, my mind palace is more of like a mind trailer park that's been
yeah, it's
abandoned, and so
it's a
I,
mind ruin.
I'm gonna do my best here to get everybody up to speed. All right. So this movie takes place in the December month of 1970s Massachusetts, where Barton, I don't even know, high school boys. It's a cute little boys' school.
Boys' school, yeah.
It's a boys' school. I don't quite know the age group. There's boys of all
High
ages here.
schoolers, you know,
Probably high school, but I think those kids
junior high, some of them.
Sure, junior high, maybe. I don't know. It's the 70s.
Boys'
Life is
school,
different.
13.
We're-
I'm gonna say 12 to fucking whatever a boys'
60,
school is.
whatever you want.
We're
Because
poor.
The perpetual boys' school boy, Paul Giamatti, who plays the character of Paul Hunnam or
That's right.
Hunnam or whatever. He's a smarty pants history teacher who works at this boys' school, and he gets kind of like bullied into the duties of being like a proprietary teacher that stays on campus for kids who don't get to travel home for the holidays. There are about 4 or 5 kids that stay. They're inconsequential because they all leave in the first like 30 minutes of the movie, and Angus is left behind as the only kid that wasn't able to go because his now remarried mom is out living her best life, and you think that his father's dead at the beginning because he lies about that because he's too embarrassed about the truth. We'll find about that later. But another person who has to stay back is the kitchen worker, and she's the head kitchen cook at this school. Her name's Mary Lamb, and she's I can't remember what happened to the husband and the dad, but he's out of the picture. He's dead too, maybe? I don't quite remember.
Maybe, yeah. Her son died in Vietnam, which is
that's
just recently.
That's her,
it's literally 1970, I think.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I think his son like died that year in the movie that the movie takes place. Yeah. And so she's a grieving mother who has to kind of help take care of these people, and she's black and she's helping like primarily white people, and so there's this kind of like there's like a class divide, and Paul Giamatti's character
like a hoity-toity rich boy school too, you know what I mean?
Because it's a private, yeah.
They even make the comment that like the only person you don't see these boys going off to die, and they're like except for Curtis or whatever.
Except for Curtis, who Curtis Lamb, the son. He was working because Mary Lamb works at school. She got the job. You find out later that she gets the job there because she knows that her son can go to the school.
And that's not all spelled out anyway, which is nice. It's like subtext, you know?
It's all subtext. Yeah. It's in dialogue, like just like light conversations.
It's casual.
They're throwaway conversations, which is great. This movie is, if you don't know, how do you say it? Alexander Payne?
Yeah, Alexander Payne. He didn't write it, surprisingly, but...
Oh, he didn't? Oh, but I'm sure he helped because he writes it.
It feels like an Alexander Payne movie through and through, which is weird that he didn't write it. But I mean, obviously he directed it, and rightfully so, because it's a very dialogue, very character driven little movie.
Right. But
sorry, go on.
Yeah, sure. And then so it's basically just them stuck at this school, and they're all kind of broken characters, and it's like a coming of age / midlife crisis movie where Paul Giamatti, he is an old curmudgeon. None of the students like him. None of the staff likes him. And Mary Lamb kind of gives him the breakdown like, hey, you're not a very likable dude. And Paul Giamatti's kind of like, yeah, I know, but I am who I am. And he has some like core values that kind of get, mixed up a little bit, and they get tested during this movie. And he goes off with Angus, and they go down to Boston to hang out, and you find out that Angus's father is actually in like some mental institution, and he just he has like onset dementia, and he's pretty young, and it's really sad, and Angus kind of has to deal with this, and Paul Giamatti is there to witness it, and like it kind of helps him grow and gain some humanity, and his heart grows 3 sizes bigger that year. And when the school comes back and it's in session again, the parents of Angus find out. They get really upset, and they want to expel, or they want to remove Angus and put him into a military academy. And Paul Giamatti's like, oh no, Angus is like, he's not it's what I loved about this movie is Angus isn't like the smart kid. This isn't like Good Will Hunting that we watched last month. Like he's not this like savant that's amazing.
He's not a savant. He's the smartest in that class, but only because he has to try. But he tries.
Right, he tries.
But he's not like he's not like a genius or anything.
I love it. Like nothing comes easy to him. He still gets a B- or whatever, but just because he gets a B-, it's the highest grade in the class. It just means Paul Giamatti, it like shows that like he's really tough on the kids and stuff, and he pushes kids because he wants them to like see their full potential. And so it's great that like Angus isn't like a genius by any means, but Paul Giamatti sees potential in him. And so Paul Giamatti takes the fall and says that it was his idea to take him to his father. It's Christmas time. It's all this. He pulls on their heartstrings. So Paul Giamatti, he gets fired. And there's a loving, touching scene at the end where Paul Giamatti's leaving. He packs up all his things and he's going to leave. And Angus comes up to him and he's like, what are you going to do? And he's just kind of like, I don't know. Life goes on. I'm gonna move on. And he's like, you take care of yourself.
He's gonna write his little.
And that's like,
so good. that
really
ending,
good. And,
that handshake at the end has more fucking guts and back to it than so many other movies. It's just like, there you go.
I mean, we were talking about Saltburn for like 20 minutes before we got on, and like, there's more emotion in that than like the end of Saltburn. So
seriously.
But it like So it's like this movie.
But does
is
this
such a-
have?
and
Does Paul Giamatti hang dong in this though? That's the
that's
only
true.
reason that
Oh my
Saltburns
God,
got
dude,
the edge.
Oh my God, dude! If his like googly eye was rocking around and he was just dancing and hanging dong, that would be amazing. I would totally watch.
My favorite movie of all time.
Yeah,
I would dedicate my life to just like it'd be like a new thing. I just go around to just telling people to watch it. Be like a religion, like a monk.
No, I'd be like Kevin Smith. I'd take it around like a.
I know, right?
Any theater in the U.S. that would play it,
I'd hand
make
out
'em play it.
pamphlets in the street. Anyway,
Yeah, but so anyways, it's basically just like kind of this like it's a melancholy ending.
It's,
but, like with hope.
it's
got
found family. You know, it's the three lonely misfits at Christmas
but it's
come
amazing
together and learn of each other's weaknesses and
But
strengths.
it's only for that like I think it's like what 2 weeks or something that the break is or 12 days or something.
It's like 10 or 12 days or something like that.
And like that's it. They're never gonna see each other again. Well, I mean, Angus and Mary, they'll probably have some glances in the cafeteria, and they might have some slight talking relationship, but they're not gonna be friends. He's not gonna go to dinner with her. Paul Giamatti's not gonna ever see them again. It's
Yeah,
it's
he's
really
gonna go
touching.
off and travel, but it literally
Well,
like the last lines when he shakes his hands, he's like, God, "It's been 10 days since I watched it or whatever." So, but it's something along the lines of like, you just get through this time and just keep your head down and hang in there, or whatever. And it's just like you just wait till you're graduate, and then he's like, "Oh, I was gonna tell you the same thing,"
Yeah,
throws
right.
it back at him, and it's nice.
That's really sweet. And
It's a tender moment. It's the most heartfelt handshake.
I know it really is. Well, dude, do you know what I kept thinking when I watched this? Like, because this was your first time seeing it, obviously, in my opinion as well.
Yeah.
And it just came out like 4 months ago. But I kept thinking of Rushmore while I was watching this film. But this is like the not fun Rushmore. Like this is totally like this is the Rushmore that is just like so steeped and grounded in reality that like this could be a documentary if they had 2 interviews in
it's
this.
too real. It's like the
So
teacher
real.
that like is nice to Paul Giamatti's character. It's like if they were both trying to fuck her and it was like
Right.
quirky. But in this it's just literally like, "Oh, she's nice to me." And he's like, "Oh, I feel like there's some chemistry there." And then it's like, it's not a big thing, but he's like, "Oh yeah, maybe I'll put myself out there." And then she has a boyfriend, and it's like, it doesn't just crush him. He just continues to drink more. And he's just like, that's life. You know what I mean? Like, of course, like, this is why you don't have fucking hope. You know what I mean?
No, that's Paul Giamatti. Like every character he has, it's just like clinging on for dear life. Like they're stretched out as thin as a thread, and like even like I don't know, every character he's ever been in.
This whole cast absolutely fucking like I've always kind of liked Paul Giamatti. You know what I mean? He just everything he pops up in, he's a cool guy, and obviously loved him in like another Alexander Payne movie, like Sideways and stuff. But he fucking crushed it in this, man. He's so good in this movie. And I don't know what the deal is with his eye, but that's just like the perfect cherry on top for his character.
You know what's beautiful? His that prosthetic eye was it kept Paul Giamatti made it a goof because he was just like he wanted to like push the boundaries of how like off-putting, but what I don't even know what he said exactly, but it's like he's like sympathetic and off-putting at the same time. Like you feel sorry for him, but like you don't like he's not an asshole because of it. He's just kind of meek. And so anyways, but the porcelain eye thing, the prosthetic eye, he kept switching it during filming so that people would be confused. Like actual characters in it were confused. Like the whole bit where he's like, I don't know what eye to look at.
And he's like, I'm keeping that close to the chest. They're bowling, and it's just like, he's drunk because he's always drunk. But that's what hits so much harder. Like that's one of my favorite scenes is when he walks out of the office after he just got fired, and he just said, "It's this eye. This is the one you look at." You know what I mean? Like this is the one you have the connection with. And I'm like, no, I would have guessed it was the other eye. Sometimes, that makes sense that he's switching it. But it's like, that's such a. I really like this movie. I was like, I'm definitely gonna watch this again next Christmas. But
well, that's the thing. I think this is definitely like will be in like a rewatch repertoire. But like, it's so weird. This is a movie that all the reviews I've watched or I've read for this are freaking. they're super ambiguous. Like no one knows why. They're like I was weeping during this movie and I don't know why. Like I'm so touched by this film, and like it's not like a heavy drama. I think it's just because it's just so grounded in reality. And I think for me personally, it's the human story that kind of just takes place throughout all of time. Like, I mean, Paul Giamatti in this movie, he says, like, history repeats itself. If we don't learn from it, we will continue to repeat it.
Oh, God, I forget the line. The line's so
generation-
good. Yeah, when he's just like, that's how you make sense of the now. You know what I mean? It's not like a.
Well, yeah. Well, the takeaway that I loved is when he says every generation thinks that they created or they invented depravity, and I'm just like, it's so true. Like I love that, and it's such a well written line.
I think it's because it's like that's what's crazy. It's like this movie not only feels really truthful and honest. It's like, it's got its dramatic moments and it's got like a lot of heart and a lot of comedy, but it's like it hits in that like a real human. It's just superhuman. I know as dumb as that sounds, but it's like the fact that it feels so nostalgic. Like I felt nostalgic watching this.
Yeah.
In a way that was really weird because it's like I'm feeling this emotion that doesn't feel like it's cheap and it's like just grasping for my childhood because guess what? I didn't grow up in the fucking 70s. I didn't go to a boys' school. I didn't have a fucking curmudgeon, one-eyed teacher. It's like, and yet, I think that speaks to how well the characters are written, how well that the direction goes to like make it have this atmosphere of just kind of being like sort of lonely, but also like this weird finding comfort in the little things that really clicks with everyone. Because it does feel like a simpler thing, but it's also a reminder that it's like, even though we all feel alone, like, that's kind of what is like the glue that can bring us together. And you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be alone and stick it out and blah, blah, blah. And that's life. And I think that's why people are fucking weeping over, like, because I didn't cry or anything, but it's just like, which is surprising because I fucking cry at everything now. I'm a little bitch, but but
after you give birth twice, man, you just
I know
your hormones.
It changed my whole body. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll never be the same. God, I just got distracted. See, this is the fucking crackhead in my brain.
I know.
I got distracted by
your
the
mind
fact
palace.
that my mind palace. I felt like I was saying something poignant, but now I'm distracted because I usually wear a graphic tee, but I'm wearing just a straight black shirt, and you always wear a straight black shirt.
I always wear my
So now I'm like annoyed that we both like match too much.
All right, dude, the ADH rattle dude in your mind palace is everywhere. Oh hell yeah! Oh folks, get on our YouTube real quick, and you can get a rare glimpse into this hairy beast of a man in front of me.
That's all you're getting.
Oh yeah.
It's really hot in here too. It's basically fucking climate change is killing me.
What's funny? We brought it over here because it's like
This is the greatest snow on earth, northern Utah. It's like 50 degrees outside. It sucks. It's totally normal. Feels good. Literally, January 2nd here. But if I take my mind back to the Holdovers and just live in the snowy 70s, like that's nice. Things are easy.
Well, do you want to know? Do you know what's amazing? So this is it's a little cute factoid here. A little fun fact. All of this film was shot. Oh, and I have another question for you too. After all of this film was shot on location, all practical, no sets, which is pretty cool. Like
I like that.
Kind of like it's kind of rare to think about it. Like all of it was like
is it
found.
shot on?
Very little set
Is it shot on film?
You wish it was shot on film.
I know. I knew.
That's where we
We
are
talked
right now,
about
buddy.
it. Yeah, we talked about this.
We have. So we come from the early 2000s where we were really, really, really getting into film and getting our our hooks in it and going to movies like constantly during that weird shift between digital and film.
Yeah.
And everybody out there in podcast land, the brief history is a lot of artists, auteurs, they hated digital. They raged against it. There were some small time guys like fucking 20 Days Later, dude.
I was gonna say
Danny Boyle,
we were there for 20 Days Later, but
Yeah.
Danny Boyle's not afraid to break the fucking mold.
Well, right, and Danny Boyle was like, no, you like.
I felt too
crazy,
nude now.
right? You gotta know that digital is gonna become something, and digital actually existed as a pretty strong medium. I mean, it's basically that's how it's always been though. It's like people shoot great movies on 16 millimeter, and that like 16 millimeter was, you know, a cheaper, lesser than film stock back in the day, and people were making beautiful movies out of it.
Well,
So it doesn't matter.
like we talked
Anyway,
first.
this is all digital.
Yeah, and that's what, when you said, that's how I was like, oh, that makes sense, because it's like digital cameras, like you said, it was like all on location, which it's so much harder to have a film set on that location for, like, I mean, obviously, especially because this movie's more budgetary. It's not like a huge budget or anything, but you know, film cameras are smaller now, but still, it's like you're still dealing with noise. It's still like more cumbersome than a digital camera.
Well, and film itself is a tactile thing that is actually pretty fragile. So like when you shoot in weather, it's really fucking hard. And like you have like
way more of
corruption
a
and
hassle,
damage.
but God, it's like this and First Cow being shot on just a fucking like Airy Mini or whatever the fuck it is, with great,
exactly, the Alexa,
soft, old school lenses. Because this movie looks like, especially with like the credits and everything, really added to it. Like from the get go, they had like the very old school like MGM or whoever did it.
Well,
I'm like, man, this movie feels like it could have been made in the 70s. Like it looks great.
Can you answer me this? I wasn't 100% sure, and I didn't look it up. The non-diegetic, like just the soundtrack throughout the score, was there contemporary music? It didn't feel super period heavy until there was like diegetic movie, like music, like in the movie theater and like in the car and at the party. When they're listening to music, it's period piece music. It's music from the 60s, you know? And so like that, like it's weird because there was a blend where at times I was like, God, this music sounds like contemporary. I gotta look it up now as we're doing this.
I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure it's just a score that's like maybe a more contemporary score, but like going for like a more, like something more modern, but like going to emulate a slight 70s style. Is kind of, if I recall, but I didn't, like, I normally, you know me, I normally really notice the score, and the score in this was very mild. Like I noticed it here and there, but yeah, it was really mild. And then it's like when there was music, like in the scene, obviously that was like just the bits. God, see, this movie just doesn't like, it's real because it doesn't have any of these crazy hard edges. I don't know why I was just thinking like at the party. In any other movie, he would have like the Angus would have like fucked that girl or done something or would have blown up in his face and been a huge gag. But it was literally just like, oh, I looked down her shirt and it was kind of a thing, but then we had to leave because someone got too drunk. Like, it's just so, it's just real. It's true. I don't know.
It's so real. Well, dude, it made me think like
it's not like in a movie, like extreme movie drama. Like it's just like real life heartache type shit. And the funny moments.
I love like you create the narrative in your head with like, they're like, oh wow, they, you know, this is a small moment between him and that, like the niece or whatever. And like, it's like, but that's like kind of how it worked then. It's like back in the day, it's like, it's all proximity, which I mean, it's very similar now, but like we get kind of a digital age that connects us. But like, then it's like, he goes and he meets her and like, in any other movie, that would be like a love interest, and he'd be like telling the narrative about her and meeting her, you know, like later on.
Be like a whole
it's like
thing.
This movie's such a snapshot though of like that 2 weeks or whatever, you know. And so like it's really good. And there was something interesting that I loved how they progressed time is they would be like, you know, day 1 and then like day 4, and then when it was Christmas Day on the 25th, there was no title card or anything, and then later it was like day 12 or something, you know, like when it went through. And I really thought that was interesting because I noticed, I was like, oh, they stopped doing the title cards throughout to like tell us where we are, you know, because it's like you know it feels like it's a huge epic because they go through a lot of this time with the time cards. It helps you like realize like, oh, it's only been a few days. And so it was
it does feel like it does help pace it out. Like, that's a good point because like it will be like it won't do like every day. Like, it won't do a title card every day. It makes it feel like, even though it was like 12 days, it was like 5 parts. And it's like this was broken into sections. Like, it helped the pace, but it also helped it feel like the location, like it went when it's like, okay, day 12 or whatever, they're in a different location or they're back at the school. Like, it very much felt like this is how we experienced it in chunks. And I know you love your voiceover, but I'm so glad this movie seemed like it could have had voiceover.
Oh,
Like,
I wouldn't have wanted it.
There's
in this.
so
This is
many
not-
things that
I
a
don't know, maybe I would've
lesser,
liked it.
yeah, maybe, but like if done right, sure I could see it. But it's just like, I don't know, like because that really leans in the nostalgia too. Is just like, oh man, I'll never forget the winter of 1970 to 1971
Right.
when I had met, it's him at the funeral of fucking Mr. Hunnan or whatever, or some bullshit.
Dude, exactly. But I think the voiceover would have totally distracted. And I loved the silence of just like walking through the snow and like, whenever they go out. And I don't know. I love like
It puts you in the now, that's what
Yeah.
transported you to be there with these characters in that moment and feel like, there's sad moments and like the moments when it's like, Paul is too harsh and is a fucking asshole. And then Angus is that kid, the actor, crushed it. Like he was the perfect angsty little fuckhead with also.
this is his debut.
I know. I had to look it up because I'm like,
yeah.
okay. I hope this guy's in more stuff because he did a really good job. You know what I mean? Because he's like kind of cringe, but also like he's got like that youth to him. I don't know. And then obviously the chick who played Mary was so good, but like,
Well, dude, yeah, Divine Randolph. Have you seen?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that show? Only Murderers in the Building.
no, I've been meaning to watch it, but Mary, my wife's on the fence about like I was like, do you want to watch it with me? And she's like, maybe, and I'm like, oh, that's a maybe. So I gotta save it
That's
to
not a
watch
no.
with her. Yeah, well, usually it's a no. You know what I mean? So
I mean, well, yeah, clearly, but
If
it'd
it
probably
wasn't
be
a no.
'cause I would say that show is like, I don't know, 3 stars or whatever, maybe. But anyways, it's a fine show.
She in
But
it?
she's in it, and she's really funny.
Yeah.
She's like kind of a small part, but she's like a detective. But anyways, yeah, every time she's in it, it's funny. And so seeing her in this, she plays the complete opposite character. Like in Only Murderers, she's like kind of like a hard ass sarcastic cop, and in this movie, she's a very sad, like just lonely grieving mother.
well, and it's nice
And-
because like she does it so
But
good because
she's so real. Her character
and
rocks. When
she's-
she gets drunk,
she's
I
strong
love that.
and
so
like
much.
she's very much like somber. She's doing her job. She's drinking and smoking, and then she's just like, but like she's not like she's grieving, but everyone is like pitying her. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, she's like, okay, thank you. But it doesn't ever like break down until she gets too drunk at the Christmas party, or the New Year's Eve party or whatever. And then it's just like that's when it's really like the grief that she's been holding in, and it's just like makes you realize like, oh, she's been like barely keeping it together, but it's like
Dude,
such a
I love when
subtle
she goes-
performance, I don't know.
when she goes back home to her sisters and like the Angus is like has to take her bags up, and then he comes down and
It's
she's
like,
like,
you're
"No,
not done." Yeah.
You're not done. You got to take me up.
Yeah, help
And
me
he's
up.
like- he's like, those stairs. He's like, they look slippery. Like I love, and like, dude, this movie had like so much levity in it on top of like all the darkness, which just makes it real. It makes it realistic. The only time that I thought it was a little, because it's a movie, so you can't like, it can't be like too real. Then it kind of like it's not as fun.
When he dislocates his shoulder, right?
Dude, that's so brutal. Yeah, that's kind of
You're
silly,
like when
but-
he's chasing him, he's like, "That's gonna be detention. You're gonna be suspended, young man." And then he's like, "I'm going out there. I don't give a fuck." It jumps into a fucking pile of rubble and fucks his arm
but that,
up.
like, I liked that as like that's a good bit where like
it's
that's
good.
actually like it's funny but still grounded in reality. But no, the part that I thought was like super ridiculous, but was actually spoilers jumping ahead, was my favorite scene in this whole movie. Is when Paul Giamatti is confronted with an old alumni.
That's so good. I love that scene.
And he's like more quote unquote successful than him, and so he makes up like he's writing a book, and he makes him like write a book on ancient cameras and how like he just goes.
He's like,
and,
"Tell him the
riffs
title.
off
Go
of
on.
it.
Tell him the title."
Yeah. And oh God, what is the title? Oh, I'm so mad. It was something like ancient glass or reflective
Yeah.
glass or something silly. And like how he talks about how he's like, oh, the old like curved glass from like making lenses back
like-
in like.
It's like actually, it was like a telescopic astronomical
Yeah.
device. Like
Exactly, yeah, for the camera. Like, dude, that scene was like the most movie scene to me, and yet it still works in the movie.
works
Like,
so
it doesn't
well.
take me out, but I just loved it. It was just such a good moment because that was like they like got to bond. Like Paul Giamatti was super vulnerable, And
when he's asking him, he's like, I thought a Brenton man never lied or whatever, and all this. And he's like, that guy doesn't deserve my real story. Fuck that guy. And he's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck that guy. You're right. And it's like, that is, you could tell that's a moment where Paul, like, he's like, all right, maybe this kid's not like, he was starting to feel it before, but I could tell that was a big barrier come down for him. He was like, this kid, maybe he gets it a little bit, like sort of.
Well, right.
But if he's not careful, he's going to turn into me,
Yeah. No, I think that is clearly like the takeaway from this movie is like Paul Giamatti sees so much of himself in him that he doesn't. Yeah. But he also doesn't like I don't know. I mean, Paul Giamatti doesn't seem like, that's what's nice is they didn't make him like tragic in this. He seems real and human. And he also seems like he's got a few regrets and, probably wishes that he actually like, took some chances when he was younger, but is still proud of the work that he's done. And so he sees that in Angus and is like, get out there and live your life.
It's coming of age. That's why the ending's so good too. Yeah. It's coming of age for him. Like he finally is forced. He makes a sacrifice for this kid to have a future, and then because he's fired, it's like he has nothing holding him back anymore. Even though he put himself in that position, and so he's like, oh, maybe I will go write that book, whatever he calls it, for shorter version, the pamphlet essentially. And I don't know. That's what makes it it's primo arc there, bub. But yeah it's all right.
But the thing, that's kind of where like, I enjoy it. I wanted to tell you a fun little tidbit because why not? I'm here for a little more. Do you want to look up some? I'll tell you one fun fact, and I'll tell you the money minute.
Yeah, look it up. Was that your favorite part then? Was the old colleague?
That whole scene, like the whole basically.
Well, in the liquor store and everything. Too.
Well, yeah, right. Like from that sequence of them bonding and like Paul Giamatti truly letting down his guard was my favorite part. And then I just think that's like a really funny scene. So like that specific scene where he meets him and it's like super weird and he's kind of like whatever, like goading him and getting him to like continue to lie deeper. It was great. And like
puffing him up.
Yeah. It was fun to watch him do that. And it's cool. Paul Giamatti and what was her name again? What did I say?
Divine something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Divine Joy Randolph.
Yeah, Randolph. They went. Sorry, I'm reading something and also talking about it at the same time. So I will focus on this. They both went to Yale and got their.
You're like, fuck! I gotta find a fun fact. Shit.
No. I had this written down and then I forgot what the degree is. But their acting degrees from Yale. They both went to like the same professors and everything went through the same course. But Paula Giamatti graduated in '94 and then she graduated in 2011.
Wow.
Crazy difference, but really fun that they got to work together.
I'm scared to look at it because it's like I feel like she's probably much older than us, but she's probably not that much older than us.
No, really.
I don't want to. Yeah, she's probably got a couple years on us, maybe, but I'm scared.
Probably not even, dude.
I watch movies and stuff now, and I'm like, wait, that main adult protagonist, he's like 28, and I'm like, that used to be like the age. They're so old. God, no.
Buddy, that's everybody in Saltburn is like fucking.
Well, it's supposed to be. It's like a period piece for anyway, because they're like millennials.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Because it's it's like
Divine she was born in 90 or 86. So
okay, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 years or wait, 3 years older than me.
Yep.
But speaking of old, something fun also with this is the recommended or like whatever the mandatory viewing for this movie to get prepped with The Graduate, Landlord, Harold and Maude, The Last Detail, Paper Moon, and All the President's Men.
Interesting.
That's a great list to get.
That totally
feels like.
Fuck. When are we gonna? Oh wait, right. I was like, when are we gonna do Paper Moon? We did, didn't we?
We did. Yeah, we totally did Paper Moon, dog.
Yeah, we did. Okay. When are we gonna do Paper Moon again?
I know, right? Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm just gonna watch it again. That's a good movie.
I know. I can't remember. That was early. Yeah. If you like Paper Moon, go listen to that episode.
God, you know what?
But,
You remember Big Fat Liar? Sorry, I'm just looking at Paul Giamatti's filmography now. Did you ever watch that?
I don't.
Big Fat Liar, where he gets dyed blue.
Oh my god! That the Nickelodeon adjacent film with
Yeah,
like
it's got
the kid from-
it's got Frankie Muniz.
and Amanda Bynes is in it too, right? I think.
I
when
think so.
They were a thing. Anyways, that's we're
Dude, that was made 1 year difference than Sideways. It's just crazy. He's like a hip young executive in Big Fat Liar, and then
Yeah.
Sideways, he's got like his hair all. He looks like such a like a
got
like
the
a
receding. He looks like he's
30
42.
yeah. He's a 30-year-old that looks 42 and is obsessed with wine. God, I want to watch Sideways again.
We need to watch Sideways again. Yeah,
We'll find a way.
We'll
Maybe we'll do when we do directors. Maybe we'll do Alexander Payne because it's like I want to see a couple of his other movies I've not seen, but I've liked everything he's ever done. So that I've seen.
I forgot he did Downsizing, and I actually
We were
Downsizing.
talking about that recently, and I was like,
And
yeah,
I want to see Nebraska though. That was one that I didn't know he did that either.
Nebraska's good, dude.
I really want to see it. Yeah.
See,
I remember when it came out.
I really liked Nebraska. See, I wanted to see. It looked dumb when it came out, but then having seen all the movies since then, I want to see About Schmidt. I never saw it, but I just remember everyone being like, About Schmidt, and it's just Jack Nicholson's fucking dumb face. Well, his beautiful face, but his dumb old. He's got that face.
He's got a weird smirk, yeah, for sure. He's got a weird sinister look. But
anyway,
Money Minute wise though, there is no. This is new. This is still in theaters, so it doesn't have the full rundown of budget right now. But I went through and I looked at Sideways. Sideways was 16 mil to produce. Downsizing was 68 million, which is wild to produce that.
Matt Damon money.
Which he got the Matt Damon money, and it's a sci-fi. So
they had some effects. They definitely had some effects. Yeah.
But Nebraska is 12 million, so I have a strong feeling it's probably between 16 and 12 million because this is definitely subdued and totally in that realm.
I would have guessed 10 to 15. Would have
so,
been my guess, especially with all on location and everything, and like
small
cast,
three actors basically. Yeah, right.
I bet you
everybody
it's
else
closer to 10.
I bet you everybody else was only there for a week, and then the three were there for maybe 2 months. I bet this movie took no time at all to film. But right now at the box office, it's holding at 19 million. So I'm sure it's going to.
I guarantee it's made its money back though, because I would be really surprised if this was over 19 million.
Me too. Yeah, that would be even with Paul Giamatti because he's not. Even though he's a household name, I feel like he would do. Especially working with Payne again, he would probably hit him.
I feel like, he's definitely more of like a subdued, doing it for the love of the game kind of actor, right? And he's not a A-list fucking huge. Mary doesn't know who Paul Giamatti is, so.
Yeah. Well, actually, now that I think about it,
I was like, he's the guy from Lady in the Water. Come on.
I know. Yeah. But that's good. This movie sold at Toronto Film Festival for Focus Features bought it for 30 million.
Oh.
So maybe it was probably, the production could have been around that 30 million, but
maybe.
We'll see. Well, I really wouldn't be surprised. It just depends on what they count because it's always that's the thing where it's like nowadays movies with distribution and with like digital streaming. I think distribution is like cheaper now, and so I don't know exactly how they.
Well, this got everyone's. This has been critically a lot. It's the end of it's the start of the new year.
It'll get some Oscar buzz.
This has been on a lot of people's top 10 lists. It's not number one, but it's everyone's like, you can't not like this movie. It it was great and it touched me in a good way. And it's really well written. I'll be surprised. I would love to see a Paul Giamatti like supporting actor nomination or something. I don't know if I will, but like screenplay, I bet you he'll get a screenplay something. So hopefully it gets at least talked about so that it gets like another round of like people watching it. You know what I mean? Come Oscar season, it's like because it is sort of a smaller movie. It's like not as sensational. It's maybe just like cozy, which is the whole fucking thing, which is weird.
I know, right? I think this fit perfect for Cozy Month.
No, it was a perfect way to end it off, and it's like I watched this, and I watched this on Christmas Eve, and I watched it right after I had watched How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And it was perfect to watch the two of those. Which
that's good.
go listen to that episode. We did a How the Grinch Stole Christmas episode.
I know we love it. we're fans.
It's so good. Oh my god, it
Yeah.
holds up. My wife thinks I'm an idiot watching that movie because I'm just like laughing
Dude.
my ass off.
Dude, it's too good.
Anyway,
Hey.
I got a Reddit or two for you.
Y'all read it? Let's hear it.
Hold on to your horses, bub. So catnip_FL says, I saw it a few weeks ago. Very nostalgic for me because it takes place the year I graduated high school. And that winter, I'd go up to Boston to visit my best friend who was going to college there. I really enjoyed it. I want to hear more. That's the whole comment.
No,
But
please.
this
give us
is
some
literally the character that just like came out like
what music did you listen to? What weird wall-eyed teacher did you have a relationship with that was really like comfortable?
Yeah.
I was so happy this was a comfortable relationship.
I know, right? Yeah. It's like, did you know any Mormon kids, and did you throw their gloves out into the snow? Like, I feel like you ought to.
Yeah.
In
Were
Boston.
you a bully? Was your father rich and took you skiing?
I know, right? I know. I was like, I didn't really know what to expect, and so I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be the cast of characters, and I was surprised when the rest of them got whisked away, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, so let's see what they do with this, like more limited now. I was excited, but I was also like, I wonder what it would have been like with some of them other characters, because I was like getting ready to be like, oh, they're going to be around. There's like this, South Korean, because it's like the whole bit with Angus and the Korean kid that like peed the bed, and he's like trying to help him out and everything, and he's like, here, I'll help you hide your sheets in the morning and stuff. It's like so many good character building moments, but then you realize, and I was waiting for like an ensemble type cast because I didn't really know. I was waiting for like it to be like this Breakfast Club thing, but then they all got whisked away, and I'm like, oh, this was just they were there to build out not only the world and feel real, like they're their own people, but for the main characters, you know what I mean? They were there for fucking Paul Giamatti's character to have growth with like disciplining that other kid, for fucking Angus to have growth being like, oh, he's kind of like big brotherly in a way, and all this. Very good. Anyway, what was I doing? I'm stone sober too. I'm so sorry.
Reading a little. I mean, that is your problem, dude.
It is. It is. I needed to focus myself. Anyway, so Clones for People 2 says, this film went so well with a nice glass of whiskey. The film was very cozy with its quiet, folksy soundtrack, its slow pace and editing. The crossfades made it feel very nostalgic. Oh, hell yeah. I've liked Payne and Giamatti since Sideways, and I think this film is its equal. Everything is so understated, but also delivering emotional blows through the characters. The writing and acting was superb, and I'm trying to figure out how they did the effect with Giamatti's eye. Overall, a very good drama. I would not be surprised if it picked up some Oscar buzz. Yeah, I would love to see it. Yeah, that's great. I forgot about the crossfades, man. That's freaking dope.
I know, right? I mean, that's the thing. It is. I totally did too. But the slides worked, and like
it fits so perfectly that it's just like you don't. I noticed it, but again, I was like so immersed in like it wasn't some flashback. It wasn't there was no voiceover. Like it just was in this time, and it looked like it was kind of made in this time because of like the credits and like it had film grain that looked good, even though it wasn't shot on film.
I know that's so crazy how good that it looked. I thought it was film, obviously. Like it just.
I didn't even give it a second thought because they didn't have digital in the 70s, and this was made in the 70s.
Right. Yeah. So like the illusion was flawlessly executed, and I think this is film magic, dude. This is movie magic. Is all the snow is practical. It's all real. Everything was real. They got caught in a snowstorm, and so they just used it. So like it's just like this movie was shot on such a like it had to have been like a really small budget. Like I feel like they just used nature, and they made this movie, and it worked for them, and like it just looked beautiful. It looked so authentic. It looked like the 70s.
Authentic for sure is the way to put it. I know it's he kept drinking Jim Beam, which is like it's my whiskey drink, right? Because I'm a Jim Beam kind of guy.
Well, right, yeah. It's the cheapest but tastiest whiskey.
It's the best of that tier, in my opinion. It's obviously there are better whiskeys if you're willing to shell out $1 million bucks. But
well, clearly.
But I'm like the whole time I'm like, fuck, I wish I had a glass of Jim Beam to go with this,
I wish I had a bottle of Jim Beam to grab by the neck and give a kiss to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Shoulda, woulda. Fucking. But yeah. You know another part I really liked is
What?
when they because it's like such a goofy little thing, but it's just like when they go to the restaurant and he wants to order that dessert, but they won't let him because it's got brandy in it.
Yeah. That's a movie scene too. That's
It is, but it's
really
just like
little scene,
they played it around real good with how it ended. It really fit. It was like a good opportunity to bring the characters together because it's like not only is it like Paul ends up defending him and being like, you know, he's being really polite, but then finally he's like, what kind of fucking fascist restaurant are you running here? You know what I mean? And they're like, let's just get the ice cream and cherries. And then outside they like pour a bunch of fucking Jim Beam on it and light it on fire, and then they can't put it out. And I'm like, and they have a laugh about it. And it's like, that's one of those small, like, just spontaneous things that
I mean,
like,
that's a core memory.
That's a core
They just
memory.
gave-
It's like
they just gave that kid like
found family. Like this is his true family because they're all so alone, and that's the thing.
Well, I mean, the movie's called The Holdovers, and I think all three of them are held over in their life. You know what I mean? I mean, that's like, you can't get any more meta than that, baby.
I'll kill you.
But this was a sweet movie, and I actually I find myself like wanting to watch it again, but I don't know why. It wasn't like it just was so like peaceful and true to life, but it like wasn't like flashy, and I think there's something so like honest about it,
and it was
real. So I loved
it was sincere because that's the thing. It's not like I feel like it's movie magic. It's very carefully crafts its tone because it leaves like a nice taste, but it's like bittersweet, which a lot of these movies have been. You know, it's like, you know, everyone's still got all these hardships ahead of them, and you know, his dad still all fucking has these, his family life is shit, and who knows, fucking Paul Giamatti's stinky, you know, it's like.
I love it. Everyone's got emphysema because they're smoking 2 packs a day.
Yeah, so it's just like, but I really want to, like, I think this movie is going to have some serious staying power. So, like, I do think that, like, a lot of people, everyone who saw it really loved it, but I do think it is sort of underseen just because it's not flashy. Like, my wife, she liked it. She watched it with me and she liked it quite a bit. But it's just like, this is not the kind of movie, unless you're like a film person. Like, normally it's like, they're like, I don't want to watch a boring movie about some fucking kid that gets stuck behind at Christmas time. Like that sounds lame. Like, there's no fucking magic wands or fucking Tony Stark's not in this or anything. But I do think it's. Well, I think it will have its impact. It'll have its impact.
This is all like now I'm thinking about it though, and I'm like, man, we're old, bud. We're getting up there, pal. Like, this is like I just thought about it. I'm like I don't think anyone I guarantee you no one from my work who's all under 25 has seen this movie.
I'm holding my back and I'd be like, there was too many edits in Saltburn. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, calm down. There's fucking with that title card. I actually like the title card.
That title card was amazing, dude. Like I said, the opening of Saltburn was probably like the best part next to the drain. So, but
obviously.
But man, this movie was sweet, and I think it's got that, like you said, it has this like familiar nostalgia that we weren't part of this, and I
other than that one Reddit comment who literally this is a biography of their life. Apparently.
No, well, right, that's what I mean, and I think,
that's right. It works for everyone. You don't have to be that person to enjoy this movie.
Right, of course, but I do think there is like an older. It's going to skew older, but like I think that's kind of all of Payne's films.
Well, the movies are more about that. It's more of a retrospect and establishing, like, where am I in my life once it's firmly established. They're not coming of age stories, but they are coming of middle age stories often. But this is. It's both. That's why it is. It's both.
I guess when I call it a midlife crisis, but it is like it's a.
It's coming of age, but two different large chapters of their lives. This is the end. This is the turning of the page for both of them, for all of them, but primarily the two of them. Mary's there too, but
I was really waiting for it to be like a Benjamin Button style, where he's like, "I was Angus," and now I've become.
Is this Tyler Durden? Like, it's just,
yeah, right. Like he's like, and that was me, a memory in my head, and now I'm gonna go away. And he's just got like mannequin parts. And
he actually got fired because this Mr. Hunnan's just having a fucking mental breakdown about when he went there.
Yeah, right,
and then we went to Boston, and they're like, oh God, he's become his father.
And it's like, oh crap! It's like, remember that young boy you strangled to death when you were with Angus, when you strangled to death when you were in the 60s, and it's like present day. It's like 2011.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's the holdover. You know what? I don't have anything else to say about it. That's the holdovers for you.
That's my
It's
fanfic.
good.
I'm gonna write some fanfic. Holdover and make it a thriller.
If you listen to this episode or watched it on YouTube, thank you. And you were waiting till now to decide whether or not to watch the movie. It's a watch. You should go watch it.
Yeah, you should go watch it. It's gonna they'll have a little Oscar buzz. It'll be out. It's like worth your time.
I'm sure you have already seen it, and if so, go tell us on the Reddit what you thought about it, and if you agreed with our opinions or not. You probably did because we're often right. But I'm excited because next month the next movie we're watching is actually quite similar to The Holdovers. It's very, very similar, which is weird. It's going to be Michael Bay's Bad Boys 2. A1.
Oh, Bad Boys 2 won?
It did, yeah.
Oh, it's a clincher, dude. That came right at the end. I really thought it was going to be Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, for sure. It's that'll be an interesting one.
Alexander's Pains, Bad Boys 2.
You know
Paul
what?
Giamatti stars in this.
This is our first Michael Bay movie. I think we're breaking our Michael Bay cherry.
100%, and I think that's an appropriate Michael Bay film because the last 15 years, I don't think I'd want to watch a movie that Michael Bay's made.
I've kind of blocked him out of my mind. Oh yeah, I kind of actually wanted to see it.
Fucking awesome.
Oh, did you see it? That one I did want to see because I'm like, oh, that actually looks different, and it's like more of a
Michael
crime.
Michael Bay can make good movies. He just chooses not to. I don't know.
He does.
It's weird. He chooses. Chooses to make fun things. I guess.
Yeah, he did say, and I kind of respect him for it. He did say in an interview back years ago, 10 years ago, that he makes movies for his teenage sons.
Yeah, that's cute.
But they're probably grown adults now, so he can go back to making grown adult movies. I would like to. Oh, I guess he made that bank heist movie that just came out with Jake Gyllenhaal last year, Ambulance or whatever, right?
Oh shit, that was him. Oh, okay. I heard that was good. Or
I heard it was. It was a solid action movie. Is what I heard.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal, who is just fantastic. So I imagine he carried a lot of it. So the Gyllenhaal. But I don't know. Yeah, man. I guess if you can work with Megan Fox 15 times, why wouldn't you? You know.
Yeah, I guess so.
for his teenage boys.
Oh, you know what? Movie Mary for sure. So, spoiler if you made it this far, thank you. But for February,
Patreon rocks. r/coldest in the knowledge.
Please come.
All the plugs.
You can Patreon. Come. The different thing about us than most of Reddit. Reddit is mostly just you see it and then you're gone. We go back over the course of a week and then some to what on the same threads to be catch up on movies, see what other people are talking about of the movie of the week. So even though Holdovers was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, if you listen to this and you have an opinion or have something to say that we're factually inaccurate about, go tell us on the Reddit.
Never.
We will see it. Not with a steel trap fucking mind like Jordan's over there.
I know my mind palace, baby. I'm sprucing it up, dude.
It's gonna be.
I'm getting a potted plant.
He's got a HD TV show going on, and they're gonna fucking renovate the shit out of that.
Yeah, baby.
But no, I'm spoiling it sort of. But because speaking of Michael Bay, so in February my wife is gonna come on, and she's gonna pick all the movies that we do for the polls, and she's gonna come on and do the podcast with us. But she said she's gonna definitely add Armageddon, which is Michael Bay as well.
Okay. Oh, she's gonna add my Armageddon, but Armageddon's gonna win.
Doesn't mean it's gonna win, but I can't tell her because then she'll find a way to make us watch a show. I feel like she's gonna troll us a little bit, so we'll see.
I'm excited for her picks, dude. Yeah, next month's gonna be.
They're surprisingly good.
Off the wall. But what is this month's theme?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't write it. I didn't Normally I have it in a specific boiled down to a word or two. But I haven't really been doing that as much lately. But I definitely would just think high octane or action or fast paced but like specifically like high action. You know, I want things that are just like if whatever the opposite of cozy is. You know what I mean? I want like intense.
Can Crank get on one of those?
Yeah, Crank is 100% going to be.
Crank. Okay, good.
I didn't make it onto this. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Crank.
I know
Crank
all
rules.
about it.
Crank. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you already know exactly what happens at Crank.
I saw like Handgun Henry or whatever. What's that one?
Hardcore Henry. Yeah.
Hardcore Henry. I've seen that. It's basically the same thing, just shot better. But anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fun. Okay, we're high octane. I'm feeling it, dude. It's pumping in my veins.
Yeah, we're gonna
baby.
get like
Bad
more
Boys.
big crazy. Yeah, Bad Boys 2. I loved this movie when I was 13. You know, so it makes sense.
No. Have we watched Bad Boys 1? Go listen to that podcast and then come back for Bad Boys 2.
I know we usually don't go straight to a sequel. I was actually going to put Terminator 2 possibly, but I think it's just going to win, so I didn't.
I think it's fine because they're not like direct sequels, right? They're just
No, it is.
established characters that
It's
go on another
well,
adventure.
that's the thing. It's
right?
like I usually
Right.
don't go straight to sequels, but you know, Terminator 2. It's like all you need to know. A little bit with Sarah Connor's past in the Terminator. And but in this, it's like, you know, they're just buddy cop, any buddy cop. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to know the exact events of Bad Boys 1. Which Bad Boys 1 is pretty good, but it doesn't have the juice of Bad Boys 2. So we'll see. I'm excited to see if the 13-year-old inside of me it still holds up because it's also goofy. It's Martin Lawrence and that other guy that slapped Chris Rock. I forgot his name.
Well, I think that's like I'm sad because before Will Smith was a cuck, he actually had fun making movies, and now he doesn't have fun making. I don't think he's had fun making a movie in like the last 15 years, so if not longer. When was that? What was that one he made? It was like Happiness or something.
Yeah, Pursuit of Happiness. That's when
Happiness.
I think that's when he got the taste when he's like, people are like, "Wow, Will Smith's a real actor," and he looked in the mirror and he's like, "I am.
He's like,
I am a real actor. I must have an Oscar." You know,
that motherfucker was making like $100 million a movie. So I mean, he was like the highest paid actor for like 10 years. So
yeah, I just don't like that he doesn't fucking swear in his raps.
Right? Yeah. Name one rap that you know outside of like whatever the one from
Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not going to embarrass myself by pretending to. No.
Too late. All right, guys.
If you made it this far, God, put me out of my misery. Help me.
Yeah. Come to Patreon, pay us, and then we can keep doing this longer because you love it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll make hour-and-a-half long episodes where it's just 40 minutes of us just fucking rambling and then talking about a completely different movie.
I mean, that's usually if you made it this far, you know that this is what we do at the end.
Yeah.
we don't have so most of your favorite podcasts out there, everybody. I know that they at the end they have like a scripted like layout that they go with, and we're like every once in a while I just go like you know what's up, dial 801-613-1501. You can leave us a message.
You should, yeah, but that doesn't even happen anymore because we're not interesting.
I know, yeah. Well, I don't have any more friends. I gotta get. How do you get people to listen to podcasts? Can you tell? Please tell a friend out there in podcast land.
I don't even like. I would love if you listen to the podcast, but I want more people to come onto the Reddit and just fucking talk about movies. And it's like not just like the movie of the week, which we do, but it's just like I like picking a movie that I'm like obligated to watch, and then a lot of times I'm pleasantly surprised, and then I could go somewhere and be like, this movie's great, and it's like current, you know what I mean? Someone also just watched it, and I could talk about it. You know, I could talk about Good Will Hunting now and not go to some message board on somewhere else and be like, hey, remember the scene from Good Will Hunting? Here's why I like blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so.
Well, come to
That's
us. Come to coldestofknowledge.com and you can...
That's not going to be, yeah.
I forgot, actually.
Go to the Reddit.
Go to the Reddit, please. r/coldestofknowledge.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
We're done. Bye-bye.
Good night.